In this video, I'm going to cover the top 5 mistakes that most people make when they first start match betting. Now, these mistakes aren't going to be basic things like someone thinks match betting's about taking risk and about gambling. They come into it, they make some money pretty easily, and then they realise they were wrong and they can actually make money from match betting. It's not going to be stuff like that. It's going to be stuff along the lines of people already know match betting's profitable. They get into it, they make some cash pretty easily, and then they realise they're coming into some problems, they're making some mistakes. It's going to be that kind of thing I'm going to cover in this video. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into mistake number 1. Now, mistake number 1 is the old classic of trying to win your bets on the exchange as opposed to winning your bets with a bookmaker. Now, there's 2 reasons generally why people will make this mistake. The first one is the most common one, and it's to try and protect the bookmaker accounts. Obviously, bookmakers ban people who win more money than they lose and who take value. So it stands to reason if you can win all your profits and all your bets into the betting exchange and lose the vast majority of your bets with a bookmaker, you'd want to win as much as you can with the betting exchange and lose as much as you can with the bookmaker. Now, the second reason that people might do this, it's probably less common, is if they've got money trapped in a bookmaker account for whatever reason. Maybe they're asking you to do some know your customer stuff or anti-money laundering stuff or something crazy like that, and you just can't be bothered doing it, and you'd just rather get all the money, lose it in the bookmaker and win it into the betting exchange. Now, with either of these reasons, the process generally relies on placing a back bet with a bookmaker at high back odds and laying it off on the betting exchange also at high back odds. Now, the problem and the mistake here is, let's say we have back odds of 8.5. Betting odds are a representation of probability. So if we work out the probability of 8.5, the back odds of 8.5 with a bookmaker, you can see the probability of those back odds is around about 11.7%. Now, granted, bookmakers will apply margin on their odds, but the probability will be at or around this mark. So can you see you're going to win this back bet 1 in every 10 times on average. So granted, you're going to lose about 9 out of 10 times when you place a bet at odds of 8.5, but when you win with the back bet, you win your 8.5 back odds back bet, all the liability and all the exposure you're tying up on your lay bet on the exchange is all going to come flying back to the bookmaker, and then you're going to end up with a bigger problem than you had before, because generally what happens a lot of the time is because you're using an edge where you're match betting, you'll generally end up with more profit in your bookmaker account, because obviously that's where the edge is coming from. It's coming from the bookmakers. So that's mistake number 1, trying to win all your lay bets on the betting exchange and lose as many back bets with a bookmaker as you possibly can. Now, mistake number 2 is unmatched bets. Now, unmatched bets are specific to the betting exchange when you're placing your lay bets in match betting. Now, with a bookmaker, most people will be already familiar with a bookmaker before they come into match betting, so they'll be familiar with the process of loading up the favourite bookmaking app, Bet365, Sky Bet, William Hill, one of those guys, finding whatever they want to bet on, clicking it, popping in their stake, clicking place bet, and there we go, bet placed. Now, of course, with this, you're placing a back bet, the bookmaker is placing a lay bet, and they won't ask for any permission or anything like that. They're already offering their recreational customers really poor value and odds, which aren't representative of true value. So, the bookmaker, it's in their best interest to just take as many bets as they possibly can. They're offering negative books all the time. They're going to make money regardless. But when you look at a betting exchange, the concept is slightly different. A bookmaker isn't in charge of that platform. It's people betting amongst each other. You have the choice of back betting, or you have the choice of bookmaking, placing lay bets. So of course this means there has to be enough money available for you to place a lay bet in order for your bet to get fully matched. If you place a lay bet and there isn't enough liquidity available for you to get matched, what will happen is you'll have an imbalance. So you might get partially matched on that lay bet, or you might get fully unmatched. So what will happen is you'll have a back bet fully matched with a bookmaker, of course, because they'll take your bet straight away, but you'll only have part of your lay bet matched on the betting exchange, and obviously you've got an imbalance, you haven't got a match bet, and obviously this is a problem. But it isn't a big problem, and people see this for the first time. I know I was one of these people, and freak out and panic and worry about what's going to happen. It's a really, really easy fix. Do not worry about it, and if you want to learn how to deal with it before it does happen to you, check out the card, which I'm popping in one of the corners of the screen, and that will show you exactly how you can deal with an unmatched bet or a partially matched bet really, really quickly. So the next one is mixing up liquidity and mixing up liability. 2 words which sound very, very similar and look very, very similar as well. They both start with L, they both end with Y, and they're both 9 letters long. They might sound similar and they might look similar, but they're very, very different in what they are. So if we look at liability is the amount of money you're exposed with any bet you place on the exchange. So let's say for whatever reason you place a back bet on the exchange, you place a £10 back bet at odds of 3 on the exchange. Your liability, your exposure is £10 because you're risking £10 in order to get a £30 return. 10 times 3.0 equals 30. Whereas if you lay £10 at odds of 3.0, your liability, your exposure is going to be £20. You're in the role of the bookmaker, as I touched on in the previous point. So liability is what you stand to lose on any bet that you place on the betting exchange. Now as you're match betting, you'll generally only place lay bets on the exchange. The liability is worked out by using the back stake times by the odds minus the back stake to give you your exposure for your lay bet. Now if we take liquidity, although this word sounds very, very similar, liquidity is the amount of money being offered out by the other side of the book. So as I said, we're match betting. You're only looking to place lay bets on a betting exchange when you're match betting. So the money underneath the lay odds that you're looking to lay at, that's money being offered out by people looking to back at that price. So take your bet, you're laying, they're backing. They're looking to match up bets with you essentially. So mixing up liquidity and mixing up liability is a very, very common mistake in match betting. But once you get the hang of it, it's pretty simple. Number 4 is commitment. Now commitment holds a lot of people back when they're match betting. Now there's a stigma around betting in general here in the UK. And if you start making money from match betting and people start saying, oh, it doesn't really work, it's not going to work for you, you're just betting, you're going to lose it all down the line, and just, patronising things like that, it can be a little downhearted. It can get to you on a psychological level, and you can kind of hold back what you're doing and not be fully committed to it because people around you potentially don't understand what you're doing. Now the fact of the matter is, who cares what these people think? If you've got an edge and you can quantify the edge, which obviously you can with match betting, the edge comes from all the offers that bookmakers dish out. It's quantifiable, and if you can hit it hard, if you've got a decent sized bankroll, hit it as hard as you can and squeeze as much profit out of match betting as you possibly can whilst it lasts. It's not going to be here forever, match betting. And if you listen to these people what just don't get it, they don't understand, they don't want to understand, that can hold you back, and it can stop you being as committed as you possibly can to match betting. And it can hold you back from making lots of money from it, to be completely honest with you. And obviously this is reliant on the size of bank you've got, but there's no reason why you can't build it up and reinvest it back into your match betting as well. So commitment is a big one, and commitment, or lack of commitment, is mistake number 4. Now mistake number 5 is mixing up variance for gambling and mixing up variance for betting when you're doing match betting. Now when people start match betting, they get used to the free bet offers, and they get used to that basic, very simple process of placing a back bet, placing a lay bet, unlocking a free bet, and then using the same process again, but this time using the free bet to hedge out a guaranteed profit. It's a very simple process, and it's very easy to get attached to it because it's just easy money what keeps coming in every time you do it. But when you introduce variance like the 2-up offer, the extra place offer, low risk casino offers, people get a little bit, that sounds a bit gambly to me, and a bit like you're taking risk, and a bit like you're just gambling your money away. Because obviously they're used to the concept of placing bets and just guaranteeing a profit straight away. But variance is a good thing, and a lot of people, like I said, mistake it for being a bad thing and mistake it for being betting. But if you can quantify the expected value long term, you may as well do it. You may as well keep hitting it as hard as you possibly can. Like I said, match betting's not going to be here forever. If you can hit it hard, you can distinguish exactly what your edge is and how much profit you're likely to make over time. Just go for it, just hit it as hard as you possibly can. At least that's my opinion on variance in match betting anyway. So yeah, those are my top 5 mistakes that most people make when they first jump into match betting. If you're new to match betting, or you want to get the most value and you want to commit to match betting as hard as you possibly can, check out the video I'm popping up on screen now, and that will show you exactly how to get the most value from your OddsMonkey account. Cheers for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you soon.